Well, good morning. My name is Bill Schuette, and I have the privilege of serving as Attorney General of the state of Michigan. And with me today are members of our Flint team, Chief Prosecutor Todd Flood, Chief Investigator Andy Arena, and the outstanding prosecutor from Genesee County, my friend David Layton. Retired Judge Ruth Carter was intended to be here this morning, but she got a touch of the Christmas flu, so we give her an excused absence. And in a moment, you'll hear from Todd and Andy and David. We're back in Flint, a city where so many things went tragically wrong, but a city where those who broke the law will be held accountable, and where justice will be delivered to families of Flint. Our independent investigation of what went wrong in Flint commenced in mid-January of this year. Our entire team has worked very, very hard. This investigation is on a fast pace and a thorough pace, and we will continue to do this right. But I do want to say that we are closer to the end than we are to the beginning. Let me recap where we are. We have filed criminal charges against 9 individuals. Some have taken pleas. Other cases are proceeding to trial. We will aggressively prosecute these cases. We have also filed civil actions against Veolia, a French global conglomerate, and LAN, a Texas-based company. Each of these two companies, these two entities, were hired to fix the problems at the Flint water plant and the Flint water supply. Veolia and LAN made a bad situation worse and failed in their responsibilities. We have 2 teams, a criminal team and a civil team. 2 teams pulling one wagon, and that wagon is called Justice for Flint. Now, there are some, I know, who simply wish that the problems of Flint would just go quietly away. And there are voices out there that hope that the poisoning of the water in Flint could be swept under the rug. And they hope and wish that the 24-hour news cycle would move on to another subject, kind of a let's forget about Flint refrain. And these voices hope to simply blame nameless bureaucrats, call it a day, and move on. Well, that's not how I operate. That's not how we operate. And Flint deserves better. And the people of Flint are not expendable. So to move on is unacceptable. People in positions of responsibility who broke the law must be held accountable. And I know people who for the past 2 years drink nothing but bottled water. And I know people for the past 2 years that only wash their fruits and vegetables with bottled water. Now, you don't do that. I don't do that. And that's not normal. And that's not what Flint's future and expectations should be. So we're going to go forward and do our job, period. And today we're announcing charges that reach a higher level of responsibility. We are announcing charges against 4 individuals, 2 former state-appointed emergency managers, and 2 former employees of the city of Flint. Darnell Early and Jerry Ambrose were state-appointed emergency managers for the city of Flint. Darnell Early served as emergency manager from November of 2013 to January of 2015. Jerry Ambrose served as financial manager and then as emergency manager from January to April of 2015. Both Early and Ambrose are charged with 3 felonies. First, false pretenses and conspiracy, each carrying 20-year prison terms. Now, here are the quick facts. The city of Flint was under receivership and could not issue bonds or borrow money unless there was a fire or a flood or a calamity. That's the language of the statute. Early and Ambrose engaged in a plan to execute an administrative consent order. Think of it as a contract, which permitted the borrowing of tens of millions of dollars, possibly as much as $85 million. And this money was supposed to clean up a so-called environmental calamity, trying to get it into the statute, occurring at a lime sludge lagoon. Well, the money did not go to clean up the lime sludge lagoon because it had been substantially remediated. Instead, the tens of millions of dollars that they borrowed went towards building the KWA, the Karagandhi Water Authority. But here's the catch. Tucked in this administrative consent order, in this contract, was the requirement to use the Flint water treatment plant for drinking water and other purposes for residents of Flint and businesses. This is in the public records. Read the administrative contract order. And you know the rest of the story. The big switch from the Detroit water system to the Flint water system occurred on April 25th, 2014. Rashes, poison of the water, failure to use an anticorrosive, a phosphate, and it goes on and on and on. Now, Early and Ambrose are also charged with misconduct in office, a 5-year felony, and willful neglect of duty, a misdemeanor. Doherty Johnson and Howard Croft. Doherty Johnson and Howard Croft are former employees of the city of Flint. Both Johnson and Croft participated and were part of this effort to borrow money under the pretense of cleaning up the lime sludge lagoon. Both Johnson and Croft are charged with the crime of false pretenses and conspiracy to commit false pretenses. Again, both of these crimes are 20-year felonies. Now, just a word about this investigation. All too prevalent and very evident during the course of this investigation has been a fixation on finances and balance sheets. This fixation has cost lives. This fixation came at the expense of protecting the health and safety of Flint. It's all about numbers over people, money over health. And people ask me about Flint and the water and the justice system all the time. My answer to them is just what I'm saying here today. 12 people have died from Legionnaire's disease. 12 people. That cannot be swept under the rug. Young children have been exposed to dangerously high lead levels. Imagine that. Hoping that would just go away. A pregnant woman or a young infant. You wouldn't want to bathe in that water. The tragedy that we know as the Flint water crisis did not occur by accident. No. Flint was a casualty of arrogance, disdain, and a failure of management, an absence of accountability, shirking responsibility. We will proceed to deliver justice and hold those accountable who broke the law. Period.